Okay, this is the introduction to solving systems of equations. Now, systems of equations are when we have two or more equations with two or more variables, and we need to find both of those. So, as I take a look at my example right here, I have two equations, two variables, and I want to know, well, what is x and what is y? So, we're going to focus mainly on how to get these answers on the calculator. Now, these are already solved for y. When we see our steps here, we're going to solve all the equations for y, and then we're going to enter them into graph mode on our calculator. So this will be an example using the TI. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll put them both in. I'm already in graph mode, but to get there you would press y equals right here on your calculator. So I'm going to type this in. I guess I'll just type this first one in, is negative x minus 6, and I don't see my negative key. There it is. Negative x plus, well, it's actually not plus 6, right? It is minus 6. That arrow key didn't work out too good. Minus 6, there we go. Got a little bit of lag, and then we press enter, and then we'll put in the second equation. Now, the second equation is 3x minus 2. So we do have 3x minus 2. Now I have all of those put in, and what I want to do is go ahead and graph these. Now before I graph them, I may want to check my view window. That's this key right here. And generally a good starting view window is this negative 10, 10, negative 10, 10 for our minimum and maximum. Make sure the minimum is the smaller number. And if for some reason you don't see the graph, you'll have to adjust that later. But that looks good. So here's my y equals, and I'll go ahead and graph. Now this calculator emulator is a little bit slow, but we will get a picture of the graphs. So there's our first one, and our second one is coming up. And the answer to our problem is right here where these graphs meet. Now if they don't meet, then I do not have a solution. So the question is, well, what is this point? Now we will be learning how to find that out algebraically, but for now we're just going to use the calculator to figure out, well, where is this? So to get that, we're going to press second, and we look at this trace. Now I'm thinking of pressing this calc because I'm going to calculate something, and it gives me a bunch of options here. So the one I want is I want to know where these graphs intersect. So that's option number 5. Now you can move down the arrow keys to number 5, or you could go ahead and just press 5 on your calculator. So I'm going to enter there. Now you have to pay attention to what the calculator is asking you. It's asking me this question, first curve, and we see this blinking cursor. Now if you're on a black and white calculator, it may be hard to see, but it's right there. And generally if you just have two graphs, you can answer these questions by just pressing enter. So I'll press enter, and it's asking second curve, and I verify, yep, it's on my second curve. Now I know it's not a curve, it's a line, but that's okay. And then it asks me, well, give me a guess. Well, we should see this blinking, and if you don't, that's okay. But we are going to move that using our arrow keys to close to where the answer is. It doesn't have to be right on top of it, and you don't have to be too picky about it. Now, other calculators, when you do your calculate, or GSolve is what the Casio calls it, and you press intersect, after you tell it the first and second curve, you just press enter, and you don't have to do this extra step. So if you're on that calculator, you would already have the answer at this point. So we do have a guess, and I'll press enter. There's my guess. And down here, it tells me what the answer is, negative 1, negative 5. Now let's think about what that is telling us. Well, that's telling us that this point is on both these lines, which makes it true for both of these equations. So negative 1, negative 5 is my answer for this example. So negative 1, negative 5. And what that means is it makes both of these true. And if I wanted to check, well, this is x and this is y. So I'd say negative 5 equals 3 times negative 1 minus 2. And I'm asking a question, is this actually correct? And negative 3, following my order of operations, multiply and simplify. And yes, it works for that one, but I should also check the other one. So again, put in negative 5 equals, now I have a negative right here, and a negative 1 minus 6. A negative negative is positive, so I have positive 1 minus 6, and I'm asking, does this equal negative 5? And yes, it does. So this is indeed the answer, which I would expect. Now, if we're using our calculators to get these answers, then really I shouldn't need to do this check. But when we're doing it by hand with algebra, then we will. Okay, so let's finish up these steps down here. We're going to calc, and then what did we press? Well, we answered the questions, right? We pressed first curve, and then we have a second curve, and then we had to give it a guess, and then it pops out the answer. Now, what did we calculate? We calculated the intersection on our calculator, intersect. And most graphing calculators have this built in somewhere. So let's do another example. So this time I do have two examples up here. This one is already solved for y, so I don't have any extra steps, but this one is not solved for y. So you do have to solve for y in order to do this on the calculator. We do need to solve for y. So we'll subtract the 3x, and y equals negative 3x plus 9. And now I'm ready to put these into my calculator. So 2x minus 4 and negative 3x plus 9. So let's go ahead and get that. So negative 3x plus 9 this time. I'll press enter. And then the other one was 2x minus 4. So I have 2x minus 4. That looks good. Enter. And I'll graph those. Again, it'll take a little bit for this to get it. This one's way up here, so if you have a graph that's really big, you may need to change your view window. Maybe zoom out using the zoom key. Alright, so we have an intersection right here. So we're going to press second, trace or calculate, and we're going to go down to intersect. That's what we want. And first curve, just press enter. Second curve, press enter. And I guess we do want to move that cursor closer to there. So I moved it from here to here. I'll press enter. It doesn't have to be exact. I could even move it past it if I wanted. But it doesn't have to be right out there. Alright, and press enter. And I get 2.6 and 1.2. So let's just make sure that I put that in right. I'll intersect that once more. Press enter, enter, and guess. I'll just put it to the other side. I should get the same thing, yep. 2.6 and 1.2. So that's what I got here. 2.6, 1.2. So this is x, this is y. Now I do want to verify, did I actually put that